Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to the Systems Alliance. My name is Jexy, and today we're going to be talking about Avengers Infinity War. Non-spoiler review. It's crazy that we even have this movie. 10 years it took to get here. Starting with Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, which some people might say is the worst, but you look back on it and see what it was building, not so bad. Captain America, Thor, everyone. It's just been a really crazy ride to where we are now. First impressions, I really like the movie. In terms of from the film side, I don't think it's their strongest film. But from the entertainment side, from the comic book side, I think it's easily their strongest film. These characters, Thanos in particular, this is Marvel Comics. This is what you've been waiting to see on the big screen forever. Villains in the MCU, let's be honest, they have not been the strongest. Forever, Loki was the only good villain. All of a sudden you get Black Panther that comes along, and then you get his villain. And really that's been the only two great ones. But let me tell you, Thanos, I think he's the best. In my spoiler review, I'll go into that more. But I think that is huge for Marvel to have a villain like this. When I say Marvel, I mean the MCU. Marvel obviously has great villains. I think I would say Doctor Doom might be their best. And of course, he's part of the Fantastic Four, owned by Fox, and has never really gotten his due. He's been done terribly twice now. So hopefully the MCU can take him over and Disney can give him the justice he deserves. Back to Infinity War, though. I think my favorite part about it, and the other two movies kind of led into it, Thor especially, when you started getting that real, like, hey, we're exploring other worlds type of vibe. The colors are popping, everything like that. You get that here, definitely. It's bringing in a universe. It's not just Earth. It's not just the Guardians in whatever area they are. It's everything. It's the universe. Right off the bat, you know that Thanos is here for real. I gotta say, all the actors did a great job. And I was laughing more than I thought I would be. The humor was really on point. I gotta say, the jokes were coming fast. And I think a lot of the humor came from characters that haven't interacted yet. Those were the best ones. There was the ones where, Avengers members came back and, it was like a nice, hey, how's it going? Nice to see you. Maybe a couple jokes thrown in there. But I think the best jokes, honestly, once again, came from Thor. Really, I think one of the great things that this movie does is it shows how you can jump from place to place. So, they're jumping into kind of Thor's world, now the Guardians' world, Black Panther's world, back home on Earth, with Doctor Strange and Iron Man and Spider-Man. They captured each of them perfectly to the point where you realize that the directors of those movies had a say in how they got the feel of their movie. As soon as you jump to, whoever it is, you feel like you're with them. And I think Thor and the Guardians really mix well together. That was definitely a good pairing in terms of the comedy. I have to say, the only time it seemed a little silly, especially given the stakes of what's going on in the movie, which the stakes being universal annihilation, Drax, I think, has become kind of just a punchline guy. In the first movie, he has, this big arc. In the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, he is this character who, he's kind of a musclehead, and he's kind of dumb, but he still has like purpose, right? And at the end of that, he says, well, really Thanos is the one he has to kill. Guardians 2 didn't do too much, kind of there for the laughs and the jokes. And here, it's tough. You got so many characters in this movie. You have to balance all of them. Basically, he was the comedic relief. Not someone who you would think is the comedic relief, but he is the comedic relief. He feels a little bit wasted. But outside of that, I think all the jokes were landing. Thor's interaction with the Guardians, I'll get into more of that later in the spoiler review, but that was some of the huge highlights. I cannot believe that they pulled it off as well as they did But really, when you think about it, Disney is doing things the right way. So I can believe that they pulled it off as well as they did. So overall grade, I'm going to have to go 8.5 out of 10. I think, obviously, everyone's seeing it. Just broke the all-time record unadjusted for opening, beating Star Wars. So everyone's seeing it. It's, going to make $2 billion probably, or come close to it. I think it definitely deserves that money. It is really entertaining. It makes you feel like you're reading the Marvel comics. And one thing I do have to say, there is some differences between the comics and what you get on screen. I think so far they've all been great differences. They're adaptations, they're film adaptations of comics, and they just so happen to be going down the line of what Marvel has available, in their comic history. And I think that they've done a great job at it, to the point where you look at something like Civil War. Civil War is kind of a mess when it comes to the comics. Bring it over in the movies, and it just works. It works much better. And obviously, different characters, they didn't have them all at that time, and now they're slowly getting there. But this is definitely a fun movie. I'll definitely see it again. You definitely should see it. If you've seen all the movies recently and that you have them in your head, and you go ahead and watch all of the MCU leading up to this, you do some marathon, give yourself a couple days, there's a lot of movies in there, you will get everything in this movie. And you'll feel like you're kind of on the inside. That being said, I've talked to people who have never seen hardly any of the MCU movies, or if they have, maybe even 4 out of, all of them. And they will tell you they had no problem following it along too. Maybe they didn't get every single joke. Maybe they didn't quite understand everything 100%. But it sounds like it was pretty accessible to people going to see movies. Maybe not huge fans of the MCU or comic book movies or go to movies a lot, but they paid their money for this one, given the size of the opening. So definitely sticking with an 8.5 out of 10. Movie-wise, it's tough because it's obviously leading into more stuff. There's an ending, but there's more coming. It's not bad like Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows. You got part 1, but really that could have been one long movie. A lot of people didn't like the first one, whereas they thought part 2 was maybe one of the best Harry Potter movies ever. I don't think it's bad like that. I just think if you compare it to something like Winter Soldier, which is my favorite MCU movie, I know it's a lot of other people's favorite MCU movies, it's not quite there as a film. But that being said, comic book wise, I had a blast. There's so much to see, so much to enjoy. It's eye candy from the start. I felt like it didn't let up. It was just constant coming at you. And you would think it would have to be, given there's so many characters that they got to fit in, but it just worked. So let me know what you think in the comments. Definitely want to hear your opinion. Where do you rank it as far as your MCU films go? I'll be doing a separate video on that once I digest it a little bit more. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you next time.